All right. Right, I'll have a drink now.
Yeah. Have a wet lad. Dad deserves one.
Are you happy with levels?
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, it'll do.
Only this one's recording. That's all that matters. In the shed again tonight, we have Big Love Jeff.
Hello.
Big Man Ting Wayne.
Hi.
And myself.
What you
Louis.
want to describe yourself as?
Just regular Joe.
No, it's Louis, not Joe.
Just regular Joe Louis.
Joe Louis.
Milli Vanilli Louis.
None of that rhymes.
Is it meant to?
Well, it sounded like you were intending it to. Well, greetings everybody out there in Listenerland.
A Listenerland.
Yeah, well, you
Oh.
call that bit out if you
I like Listenerland, yeah.
Listen.
Listenerland. I wonder what Listenerland's like tonight.
what they're up to
It
tonight.
sounds like a children's story time, doesn't it?
Sit back, relax, Listenerland, and we'll entertain you.
Allow my face flaps to tell you a tale.
Once upon a time.
What have you got in your book?
Well, we had an idea this week that what we would do is, just for starters, we would start off with a little bit of a chat on one of Wayne's favourite subjects. Regular listeners to this will realise that Wayne's got a particular train of thought when it comes to music. So we thought we'd poke the bear again this week by having a little chat about David Bowie.
Wow.
Yeah, Bowie.
It's a big subject and we'll not be able to cover it in 14 episodes, so we just
we
will keep
will.
a short one.
14
Because-
sentences I can do it in.
He died in 2016 in about just over a month's time, really.
Yeah.
In January, was it?
January 10th.
January the 10th.
Something like
Is
that.
that 2 days after his birthday?
That's what?
Yeah, I think it was 2 days after his birthday or something like that. Yeah.
Born on 8th, wasn't he?
Yeah. Oh, you're good, aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just
Shares it with Elvis
just-
as well.
No, Elvis died a long time before that.
No, not on his birthday, does he?
Yeah. And he was 69.
Yes, it
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
He did well to get
I
69.
suppose that's an appropriate figure for him, wasn't it?
Well, I don't know. It might well be. I don't know. But I think, well, I was thinking about this because he's never been, he had his drug phase.
But can you tell me the first album he recorded
Clean.
clean? Or he'd been clean since?
I haven't.
Was it
a clue.
Earthling?
No.
Okay. Never.
What?
And he's never been clean.
No. So he was clean.
I'm going to say that. Is it the last one he did? Black something.
He's saying
Black
that,
Star.
he's saying that when he
Black
did Black
Star.
Star, then that's when he went clean.
I'm going to say that's probably the only
No,
time he
it was when he finished the Low album.
Well, that's quite a long time ago.
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
isn't it?
So he was clean during the 80s.
Right. Yes, he had.
So basically, he went to Berlin, went
Yeah.
pretty deep
Yeah.
with Iggy Pop,
Yeah.
and then I thought, okay,
Went on his coke and milk trip. Then he got fed up with that, did he, and went clean.
that's what you would be led to believe, yeah.
Well, I'm not going to doubt it, you know. And I was going to say, yeah, that was it. I was going to say that he had his little drug phase like they all do. And at that particular phase, you would have thought, well, he's not going to reach 69. But then again, nobody would ever think that Ozzy Osbourne would get to where he is.
No.
But you thought it was going to be a rock and roll story of excess and early death. But he didn't. He lived till 69 and he died not necessarily when he related to drugs or anything like that. Led a fairly clean life after, obviously, low.
Yeah, he was smoking throughout the 90s and stuff, but I want to say clean, it was just drugs.
Yes, yes.
But yeah.
Didn't he die of cancer? Was it cancer?
Liver.
Liver
Yeah,
cancer.
liver
wasn't
Yeah.
cancer.
But he had an heart attack in, was it 2001?
It was 2001. He was doing the reality tour, and I think he was on stage at like Lollapalooza or somewhere in Seattle or something like that, and he had a heart attack. Yeah, and then he sort of decided that he was going to focus more on his family. As
Yeah.
I suspect, after you've had a heart attack, you would.
Well, it's a wake-up call, isn't it?
Mm.
It's your body saying, all right, enough.
Yeah. Fantastic musical career, though. Every album was completely different. It went through some amazing changes. No pun.
I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't see it coming, but I understand it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it did, and that was the thing about him, weren't it? If he'd have stayed doing status quo all his career, and I know that a lot of people like status quo, but it wouldn't.
I don't know if they do.
Well, there is. He had a large following, but there was never off this shore.
Yeah, I suppose not.
There were only of England, UK. They had a few here, there, and everywhere, but it were worldwide, weren't they?
Yeah.
Because I've wrote down here, because I was making a few notes, and I've wrote down that because it was part of my youth, he did his folky bit when he did Space Odyssey. He's still got his long hair at that stage. And he was a bit, oh, that's a bit weird. And then we all saw the Top of the Pops. Well, you all didn't, but I did. Top of the Pops thing when he came on, and he just shocked,
Starman.
yeah, and he shocked everybody. And that was his sort of second phase. Well, it wasn't his second phase, but it was another phase.
He went for a lot of. So there's a documentary about David Bowie. I think it's called 5 Years, or no, not 5 years. That's the 5 years I think before his death. There's a documentary about him, and it talks about his early life before he was successful. And my God, he was embarrassing. And that gives us all hope, because for the man that was at some point in his life the coolest man alive, immortally shameful.
He worked very hard because he wanted to be the coolest man alive, didn't he?
Well,
he tried everything to get to be the coolest man alive.
He was this awkward mime guy. He did some weird Cockney character, which was like almost a bad impression of Dick Van Dyke. In fact, that's where he got his singing style from this theatre actor, especially in
singing voice.
And that's where he got this like early Ziggy voice from this theatre guy who would sing like show tunes in the middle of a dialogue, cheeky chap show tunes. On that surface Bowie,
like Del Boy. Yeah, I know. I can't think of his name at the minute, but I know what you mean. But what I was saying was, he was part of my growing up, being about 13. So I've wrote down.
You don't have to tell us what you've written down.
No, I don't want to tell you what I've wrote down, because it's a word that I want to use because it's omnipresent.
Omnipresent.
He's been omnipresent, which means literally the quality of being everywhere. And that's what he was. He was everywhere.
Yeah.
For the last 50, 60, whatever it were. He was everywhere in different facets, different styles, different ideas. But whenever he came back with something different.
Is that because he was trying to find one that he could actually do?
No, he didn't want to be. He didn't want to be pigeonholed. He didn't want to stop in one particular mould. He wanted to play different characters. He wanted to be the Philly sound. He wanted to be the rock god. He wanted to be everything.
Never give the audience what they want is what he used to.
Why stick with one thing? He wants to be a bit of everything.
Do you know who was one of his backing singers in the album Young Americans? Luther Vandross. Yeah, he discovered Luther Vandross.
He was working studio next door, weren't he?
I don't know, but he encouraged him to go solo.
Yeah, I think the story goes that Luther Vandross was working in studio adjacent to where David Bowie was working, and he's noticed him and he thought, bloody hell, this kid's got a great voice on him. I want you to come and do some work for me, and you should go solo and all this. I think that's how it worked out. Well, I think that's how the story goes. I could be wrong. I usually am.
Sounds all right.
So do you guys pronounce it Bowie or Bowie?
Well, he accepts both, apparently, because he was asked to Michael Parkinson how it was, and he said that it's both, because he's made it up himself anyway. And his dad was from Yorkshire, so his dad would have probably pronounced it Bowie, but some people say Bowie.
Was that from Doncaster?
His dad was from Doncaster.
Right, yeah.
Did you not know that?
Yeah. That's what I said. His dad was from Doncaster.
You said it. Yeah, but when you said it, you had a slight
I
inflection.
couldn't remember whether I got the
end.
Doncaster bit right, whether it was Doncaster or Wakefield or Ponty or
Doncaster, yeah.
South
Yorkshire.
He actually pronounced it Bowie.
As in the Bowie knife.
And that's what he wanted to be named after.
But he does say he'll accept both.
And why did he change his name to Bowie?
Because at Monkeys.
Because he was getting recognised as Davy Jones.
Davy Jones.
So he changed his name.
So and then he changed it to Tom, and then Tom came out.
Really?
Yeah, he did. That's true that way.
Yeah.
No, that is actually a quote from an interview that he did where he made a joke saying that he tried to change it to Tom, but then Tom Jones, he realised that was already taken. So that was a quote of a joke, but I'll take it.
You'll take that one.
Yeah.
I've not heard that one.
Well, there you go. Lucky you.
He turned down a knighthood.
Did
you know that?
Yeah, turned down a knighthood. He also entered in the Maltese Song Festival.
The Maltese Song Contest?
When he was first coming out.
Well, he was representing the Maltese.
Yeah, trying to get his name out there. He joined the Maltese Song Festival.
There was a...
Which I think the winner of went into something like that Eurovision Song Contest.
Yeah.
But surprise, he didn't win it.
Well,
Don't surprise me one bit.
No, but that just, he was trying every angle he could to... Do you think he wanted to be a star, or he just wanted to be...
He wanted to be famous. He wanted to be famous.
Yeah, he wanted to be famous and liked.
We got that.
And then he realised it wasn't all it sounded, all it was crafted to be.
And he also realised that he was good at his craft anyway.
But he was more into acting, I think. And he always wanted to write a musical.
Yeah.
So just before he died, he finished musical. But the album, Diamond Dogs, was originally meant to be a rock opera. about 1984, the George Orwell book.
Wasn't it called something like Lazul or something?
Oh
like
no,
that?
you think the play that he did before he died was called Lazarus.
Lazarus.
The zoos.
But they
Something
all
like that.
performed the play using kazoos. That's what you're getting.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Naked.
Blown out of every orifice.
Naked.
But yes,
Wow.
the Diamond
Naked
Dogs
Kazoo.
album originally was meant to be a rock opera that he penned about George Orwell's 1984 book. But I think it was his wife, George Orwell's wife, or the estate said no, so he
Sod
couldn't do
off.
it. So he had to do it to make it into an album, which turned out to be quite a successful album. And the artwork was done by an artist that the name escapes me now. But
That's a
wait,
good
but,
link.
well, so the front cover to It's on a Rock and Roll But I Like It album, where they're walking down these like big steps, the whole band's there, and it's like an illustrated album cover. Mick Jagger was talking to Dave Bowie at one point in some club, and he's like, "Oh, I found this great artist, and we're going to get him to do our album cover." But David Bowie snuck in there and got there first and got him to do
Oh, yeah, he
Diamond
did that.
Dogs. And
Yeah.
Diamond Dogs was really controversial because David Bowie's laid as a dog, and it's got
With
the
a
head of David Bowie, but the body of a
Yeah.
dog. And the original printing of the album had genitals. And America, naturally being America, they all went nuts and tried to ban him.
See what he did there?
See what you did there. Yeah.
Genitals.
And
Yeah.
nuts.
Nuts.
Hey.
Hey. They all
Yeah.
went nuts and they tried to ban him. So then
Yeah.
they reworked the artwork and drew the genitals out. So if you've got a copy of Diamond Dogs at home and it's got genitals on the cover, then you
It can have if you want. I've got a paintbrush.
If you'd like to send them us, we would very much appreciate it.
Yes, well,
Yeah.
if you send them us, we'll inspect them and make sure, and we won't
Not
sell
the
them.
genitals, the cover.
And we won't send them
Don't
back.
send any pictures
No.
of your genitals.
No, or genitals in a plastic bag.
Not again.
No.
No, not again, no.
So yeah, a couple of nuggets there for you.
We know another little line that they had to change in the song, don't we? For the Americans.
Yes. Yeah.
It's the Whitesnake song that we're all familiar, and it's "Here I Go Again."
Yeah.
And the line is, "Like a hobo, I was born to walk alone." And his manager says to him, "Oh, David, you can't use that. You're going to have to change that line." And he says, "Why is that, darling?" Because that's how he talks. "Why is that, darling?" He says, "Well, they won't understand you in America. They'll think you're saying homo.
Yeah.
Like a hobo, you've got to walk alone." And so,
Different times.
different times, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
82 or something,
Yeah.
something like that. So they change it to like a drifter,
Like a drifter.
and
Yeah.
it still made a hit. It was always going to make
It
a
was
hit.
always going to be in it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Regardless of what the first line was.
Well,
Yeah,
even if the
big
Americans
hit.
didn't like
They
a
don't-
homo was
They
born to
don't
walk
like
alone.
old bloody Americans.
Okay, I've got a question for you. What film role did he turn down? There was
What?
a very big film
David
role.
Bowie turned a film round down.
He did.
It's-
James Bond.
He did.
It's turned a few down.
Which one?
Oh, what? As Bond? I don't know
He
this
turned
one.
the-
Yeah, Bond. Yeah, I can't
Turned
remember
the
it.
Bond one down.
Was he what
Would
to,
it? No. Would it?
to play Bond?
Would it go for?
No, it weren't to play Bond.
Well,
No,
I
it
don't
was
know.
the
You
Bond
didn't
baddie.
elaborate.
It was going to be.
He was going to be the Bond
baddie.
baddie.
Right. He would have been a good baddie, actually.
God,
Yeah.
yeah.
Which one was it? Does anybody in listener land know?
Dr. Note.
Doctor 3 3/3.
Would it Goldfinger?
No,
No.
that's that's
No,
too
that was
early.
too
Moonraker.
I don't
No.
know. I can't remember.
I'll give you a clue.
I can remember it.
I'll do a mime for you. I like
yeah, that
David
works
Bowie.
on radio.
There we go.
I'm in a box. I'm pulling a rope. No, it's View to a Kill.
Oh, right.
He turned it down.
I didn't know
I
that.
remember it being a,
Yeah,
being a
he could have been
Bond
baddie
film.
in View to a Kill, but it says no.
Yeah, we painted a wall once, something like that, decorated.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
The last film I remember seeing him in was with. So he played Nikolai Tesla in a film that featured.
What, a car?
He played a car.
Wow.
In a film that featured. Oh, what do you call him now? Batman. Christian Bale
All right, yeah.
and Hugh Jackman. These two competing magicians, and he played Nikolai Tesla. It's a small role, but he played it.
Yeah.
But then again, he also played the baddie the baddie voice in a SpongeBob film. So you never really know what you're going to get with David Bowie.
Now we're getting to his
Yeah.
pedigree.
But his best film has got to be Labyrinth.
It's great. He got knocked. He got slated for it
Yeah.
when he did it, and he still gets slated for it now. But I think it was very good.
It's a cult classic.
Horrendous.
It's
Of course it is.
Absolute horrendous.
I've,
All
not,
right.
I've not seen that film. It's
Terrible.
called Absolute Horrendous.
Yeah, it's great. It stars Bowie, just him on his own. Just
In a
sat there,
mirrored room.
Just sat there in a mirrored room on a stool, talking to himself
No.
to music.
What the hell? He's not watched it, has he?
Yeah,
classic.
I've seen enough of it.
It's a
About
classic.
first 25 minutes.
Well, that's it. You see,
And
as
I
soon
turned
as
it
you
off.
saw David Bowie in
I
his
thought,
tights, you
"No."
thought, "This is not for me."
No.
I find
All right,
all this
who
too
did he say-
intimidating.
Who did he say this to? Hello, darling. No. Art is what happens when you learn to dream. Who did he say that to?
Art is what happens when you learn to dream. I don't know. I mean, is there a clue in the context of it?
Well, I'll tell you the character that he played when he said
Oh,
it.
it was a character who was playing.
He played Lord Royal Highness.
Um,
Stop looking at my notes. Lou.
I can't read that way around. I don't know.
No idea.
Ooh.
Oh, no. I know he played the Elephant Man in a theatre play, didn't he?
No, it
But-
wasn't that one.
No, it wasn't that.
Yeah, you were off Broadway. They got a load of good reviews of that
Yeah,
one. didn't
yeah. It was good.
He played Lord Royal Highness, and he said, "Art is what happens when you learn to dream." And you mentioned him earlier.
Dick Van Dyke.
No? SpongeBob.
SpongeBob, right.
He
Oh,
played
okay,
the voice.
right.
That's one of the lines in the SpongeBob.
Well,
film.
I didn't know that.
I know he used to go out with Slasher's mum, didn't he?
Well, they interacted on a physical level.
Is
For
that
quite
why?
a few months.
Is that they were a bit? Slasher's mum and dad were a bit free and easy, weren't they? Very much hippie
Well, yeah.
orientated.
Yeah.
And
But I think
and they split up by
I
that
think they
stage.
split up by that stage. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. They had a little fling,
Yeah.
didn't they?
I think
David Bowie used to babysit, didn't he?
wasn't Slasher's mum a makeup artist
Something like that.
for Stars and then at Stars and Bowie? I think
Uh,
I'm sure she was a makeup artist or
I
a
think she
a
was
costume,
like a costume designer or
something like that.
I mean,
wasn't
it sounds about right when he was living in LA in the later area of the 60s. Sorry, mid 70s.
what age is he now?
Slash.
Yeah.
Oh, it's probably 50.
Well, yeah.
So I think.
Well,
Don't forget, Slash-
Slash went to America at
They were-
8, something like that.
They were big in 80, like
Something
Yeah.
like that.
86, 7.
Yeah. That would work.
Yeah.
And
not,
he was,
not 60s. I thought you
No,
said.
it's 70s.
Oh,
Mid
no,
70s.
it's too early. It's still too early. That.
Is it?
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, he weren't there in the 60s.
No, we certainly weren't there in 60s.
So it was 70s.
No, it was 80s.
What? So you're saying that David Bowie was babysitting Slash in the 80s?
No, he wasn't babysitting.
No, because
he
Guns
wasn't,
N'
he wasn't babysitting Slash.
Well, Slash has said that he'd been childminded by David Bowie. Oh, not like that. But Slash was a man in the
he
80s.
used to go out with his
Yeah.
Slash's mum.
Yeah.
And occasionally
It
be
must have-
around.
Must have been 70s.
Yeah, it must have been. LA.
Yeah. It must have been then.
Yeah.
Sorry, if only we had a camera, you could see Wayne laughing at this stage.
There's
How we're gonna
there's
make a
so
cartoon
many
out-
jokes. That's
Okay, so
I don't know how we're going to make a cartoon face of that.
I know
don't
exactly
know.
what's going to come out of Wayne's mouth, but let's go on. What was David Bowie's worst album?
all of them.
Here we go. Boom, boom.
Didn't see that one coming.
Everybody, 10 points for expected.
Let's try and name a good one.
We'll get on to why you don't like him. Well, not the obvious, but we'll get on to
I like bits of them all. It's like I like bits of everybody's music.
No, but which one's the worst of the lot? Tin Machine stuff?
Oh, I'm not counting Tin Machine because
Why?
that is Tin Machine. That's not David Bowie,
Oh,
the
right,
solo
right, okay,
artist. That's
okay.
Tin Machine.
Okay.
As a solo artist, I am going to go for. I don't know. It's a very difficult question because if you play me bits of this and bits of that, I'm going to say, "Oh yeah, I like that. Oh, I forgot about that." And because there's a lot of them you don't go back to listen to.
Like you could easily say, if you just want sing along hits, you could easily say that Low is a terrible album. But
if you want single hits,
but
and you
Low
want
is
that,
Low is a
it's-
very challenging
I-
album.
Yeah.
Well, go other way then.
And Low-
What's your favourite album?
Oh, wait. And Low's got Heroes and
There's all them. There's all them you can pick. But I tend to like stuff that were. I like Quicksand and I like Rock and Roll Suicide. I like them, and then
See,
they're
like-
not necessarily the big hitters. Although he did play them a lot live. Well, he did Quicksand live, obviously. But
yeah, he fell really in love with it in
Yeah.
his in the noughties, I think, didn't he? He played it a lot then. I don't listen often to pinups.
But it's all covers, isn't it?
Yeah, so but it was an album that he produced, but
Yeah.
I'm not really bothered about it.
I don't know. I quite like it because it's just, I know. Yeah, there's some bits and pieces on it that no, I'm going to take that back. No, I do like it. I like them all, and I bet you I can get at least 30% out of every album that I like. Some I'll get 70% that I like, but I'll get some that I like. There's always people's music you can disregard. Like we were talking about the other week, we were on about certain people like Jimi Hendrix. We were saying you can disregard quite a lot of his work, but the stuff that were good were good.
Yeah, I'm just wondering
It's like everybody
your
else.
first one was. What about your favourite album then?
I don't
Currently,
know.
because I know that changes. Like,
It does.
people's taste change. But like, up to be like, what's your favourite one currently?
I did like the new one because I thought, the last one, should I say? I thought it was very good.
Yeah, I think that's like.
I thought it was very good. It was like
It was a fantastic piece of work.
it was like he went back 30 years and he sort of.
No, it was like he completed the story and he tied in all these little like nuggets.
It wasn't. No, I don't mean that. No, I know what you're saying because a lot of it was reflective.
Yeah, even
I
the
found
artwork and
a
the
lot
videos.
of it were reflective, and you're looking back at what he'd been, and I thought that anyway. No, I meant the strength of the album.
Oh right.
It was as strong as his 30-year ago albums because I think he had a weak patch in '90s, didn't he? Where they weren't selling as many, or they were still selling a lot. But as an album, a piece of work, the last one was very good.
I got the vinyl, and I was aware of this when I received the vinyl. But so the album was called Black Star, and it arrived, and it's in this was a vinyl, so it arrived and it had a black sleeve on it, and there was a star cut out of the sleeve, and underneath that was another black sleeve. So it was a star cut out, and all you saw was black, and then inside there was vinyl. So it's just a black album. And it wasn't until the summertime, after he died, that people started posting his pictures amazed about what had happened, because it was a little secret gem for them to find out. If they take the album outside to play on a record player outside in the garden or whatever like that, the sunlight would change the sleeve underneath where the star's been cut out, and it would turn into a constellation of stars. It would react to sunlight, and it would turn into a night sky.
Wow.
Which was
that's pretty good.
yeah, and people didn't know about that until like 6 months later.
Yeah, that's
So like he did
that's good. That
he did so much work into. He had so much preparation time to come up with these little like things to solidify his like swan song album.
Because he knew.
Yeah, he knew for a while, but he must have like like when people. Oh, I assume that when people are on their deathbed or they've been given a sentence, that they become very reflective and they want to spend a lot of time with the family or whatever. I'm sure he did, but he seems to have spent a lot of time writing a play, like finishing off some sentences he didn't finish.
Probably had that play going now for quite a long time, and he's sort of tied up all the loose ends and put all his eggs. He finished up what he was trying to start.
Well, if he wanted to write a play in the 70s, he never got around to do it, so he finished his play Lazarus. Yeah. But it was just, it was good. My favourite album, it changes numerously. I do
like
for a long
White
time.
Tie, White Noise, and that's slated, isn't it?
It's not slated.
I think it's a really good album.
I think at the time, one of the issues with him is that nobody knows. Is the left punch, is he? Isn't it? You think you're going to get it right and you're ready for it, but you don't get it and you're disappointed at first, but then you grow to it. There's some really good stuff on that, and that was he co-produced that with Mick Ronson from the Spiders. Yeah,
I didn't realise that Ronson was doing his.
He died shortly after.
Oh, Ronson.
Mick Ronson, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I didn't realise.
Not Mark Ronson. Sorry.
Yes, I didn't realise he'd done it with him.
Yeah, he'd done some stuff with him. Right?
What did Ronson die on?
I think it was lung cancer.
Lung
cancer, yeah. But my favourite.
He was very good, though.
He was very good.
He didn't get. I don't think he was in the shadow of Bowie, and I don't think he got a lot of credit.
It was a shy character.
Not enough credit.
He did a lot of work though. He worked with George Harrison, Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
I think he just liked playing guitar and recording guitar. And
the album that they did for Lou Reed.
Yeah, Transformer.
I had an interview with Lou Reed, and he said that Bowie would drift in and out, but Ronson was the one who were always into Soundbox, doing all the levels and everything. He worked the most on that. What they call the album?
Transformer. Yeah.
He did most of the work on Transformer, but Bowie got the credit for it.
Well, Bowie's going to get the credit because they can recognise his backing vocals. Yeah. Like his backing vocals on "Satellite of Love" was the best bit of the song for me.
Relaunched his career.
Yeah, he did it with Iggy Pop as well. Relaunched Iggy Pop's career.
Yeah.
But my favourite album is Young Americans at the moment. Young Americans.
Yeah.
I even like David Bowie's cover of Across the Universe.
Oh right, yeah.
There's some really clever compositions there, which doesn't get enough attention. But yeah, I think it's really good.
I think it did,
even down to the cheesy artwork.
It gets recognised for each phase he's in, each phase that he was in. That he was the Thin White Duke, and he was this, and he had that Philly sound and all.
The thing about
And
Duke was
there
his
were no-
darkest character, wasn't it?
Yeah, but he got a lot of credit for what he was doing at that particular time, and that's why we look back at his career and we think, yeah, how much he did, because he did. He did that. He had that period, and what's that track? I used to love it. It was a B-side. It were off Young Americans albums. Bagger. Can't remember what they call it.
I guess that's why it's really hard for filmmakers to make a film about Dave Bowie, because there's a lot to cover. So like the Elvis film, it's what, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and it sort of rushes through a lot of details that they really should like pick apart more. And these sort of things, especially with the trend of like in-depth long series like Netflix, I feel like there should be like a 12-part, like The Crown, a 12-part Elvis series, and there should be like a big David Bowie series.
They managed to do it with the Queen one, didn't they? The Bohemian Rhapsody one.
Well, they did, but again, they rushed through a lot of details that I'd like to learn more about, or like view through the camera, like like
they did miss a lot of bits out of it.
And like Bohemian Rhapsody, fantastic film, and then what it did was it reinvigorated the.
I suppose they just pick the points that they want to highlight, don't they?
Yeah, they polish over certain facts.
Yeah,
and,
I liked it, but I wasn't overwhelmed by it.
What? Which one?
The
Bohemian Rhapsody.
I mean, it was at the time.
I thought it was brilliant.
He won an Oscar for it, Rami Malek as well.
Oh, I'm not saying that.
I thought it was brilliant.
I think he deserved a lot of credit for playing Freddie.
And how much did he actually look like Freddie?
Do you know who the trucker was in the toilets? Do you know who passed on the bus? That scene where he's on the phone to his fiancée, and a trucker walks past me, he'll glance over his shoulder, and he walks into the toilets.
Yeah,
that's the singer who currently sings for Queen, dressed as a trucker.
Lambert.
Yeah, Adam Lambert.
Adam Lambert.
Yeah, that's him, dressed as a trucker.
You know, I didn't realise that he was one of these pop star things winners.
What the pop music?
Adam Lambert.
Yes, he was an American Idol winner.
Yeah.
Oh,
see, I don't watch all
Lambert,
that. Yeah, I don't watch all that crap. But I didn't realise he won one of them.
Yeah.
He's not a bad singer to say he's come off at telly.
No, he's a good singer.
To
No,
say
he didn't win it by because
default.
he was the worst singer. But it was a strange selection, weren't it? Don't you think? Or was it? No, probably not.
Yeah and no.
Was Paul Rogers any better? I thought it was a strange choice.
That was a strange. Yeah, I suppose Lambert's more of a Freddie singer than Paul Rogers.
Yeah.
Do you know one of the urban myths about Noddy Holder?
I know one, but
about Noddy Holder and Freddie Mercury.
No,
really?
Right. Well, I'll tell you. Well, Freddie Mercury used to have a store and sell clothes and scarves and chiffons and all fancy stuff like that in London. I can't remember, one at Carnaby Street or something like that. One of the market streets. And Noddy was famous for wearing a top hat, even before Slash, and it had mirrors on it. And the urban myth was that Noddy Holder had bought this hat from Freddie Mercury. And in a recent interview, I listened to Noddy who says, no, he says, we used to promote that little bit just to get a bit of credit. He says, but I didn't. I bought it from 2 stalls down. He didn't buy it from Freddie Mercury. I just can't imagine Freddie Mercury on a market stall.
No.
He did.
But then again,
a lot of people bought clothes off him.
You could, couldn't you? You could imagine him being the eccentric person that he was.
Oh, yeah.
Stood there bellowing out what he's selling.
And he had all these fancy silk scarves and
2
things
for
like
a fiver and all that. But you would, you could actually see Freddie Box.
You can imagine Steve Tyler buying some scarves off him, can't you?
But I can't imagine Noddy Holder crapping on a Perspex table though for a gentleman underneath.
What's that? Is that your story?
No, that's what he used to do for a bit of spare cash. He used to crap on a Perspex table with a man underneath it.
Come
on.
I did.
Where's the punchline?
There's no punchline.
Really?
Just a thud.
I've not.
Honestly, that's the fact.
I've not heard that. No, that's the fact. Were you there?
How much did that cost?
I don't know. I wasn't there, and I don't think that. I think the rates of inflation might have changed now. So if you're looking for a good deal,
well, it beats mine.
Do you think there might be a YouTube?
Well, my only other bit of knowledge about Noddy Holder was that
kids go to bed now.
His dad was a window cleaner, and he had a van. So Noddy used to borrow a van and ferry people about.
Ferrying as a term for driving.
Sorry, he used to drive people about in his dad's van, and one of his mates who were in a local band were Robert Plant.
Really?
So he used to drive Robert Plant about in his dad's window cleaning van. But I've never heard him crapping on the table.
No.
I think that's
yeah.
just one of them.
Oh.
I think it came from I saw him in an interview talking about it.
Really?
Yeah.
I made some extra cash by crapping on the table.
Yeah. Different times.
What they were? I'm sure they'd still do
Obviously.
it now.
Hot times.
So anyway,
Hot
Freddie
Hot
Mercury.
times was
I'm
had
sure
by
they still
all.
do it now, but
We were
not
talking about
the
Freddie Mercury. What about when Freddie Mercury was living in Switzerland and Bowie turned up to rock out Under Pressure? I mean, that's a good song, Wayne. For a man who doesn't like David Bowie, you saying that Under Pressure is not a good song?
No,
You saying no, it's not a good song?
no, it's not a good song. No,
Oh.
I don't particularly like that one.
Would you like to illuminate as to why you don't like Bowie? Illuminate in a way that we can broadcast.
Right, okay. I just don't get him. He just, to me, it is just, he talks to music. He don't sing. He's not a singer.
Ooh.
He's more of a vocalist than a singer.
Would you say that Mick Jagger's a singer though?
No, he's a vocalist. Freddie could sing.
Yeah.
Mick Jagger, vocalist. Bowie, vocalist. Bowie always reminds me of people like, Perfect Day, Lou Reed, with the talk to music.
Yeah.
He don't sing.
Well, Lou Reed does describe himself as a poet with a band.
Yeah, probably Bowie would get away with being a poet.
Yeah.
Singer, no. Absolutely not.
Do you know that David Bowie was in the original ideas birthing of It's on a Rock and Roll, But I Like It? So David Bowie was at Ronnie Wood's house in his basement. Ronnie Wood had got like a basic recording studio, and everyone would be in and out of his house. It's a bit of a party house, and they developed this idea of It's on a Rock and Roll, But I Like It. And there's some demos recorded where Mick Jagger's singing it. Sorry, David Bowie's singing it with Mick Jagger, and Keith finds out, and he's like, "That's a Stone song. You're not doing it with him," because Keith didn't like David Bowie. He thought it was all pose. And he refers to that in his book. He says it's all pose and he knows it. But he did have a nice thing to say about him when he died, though, so I don't know.
What was that one that they did together with when they both
Dancing in the Street?
Yeah, with
Dancing in
long
the Street.
coats on.
Yeah, it was it for Live Aid, that, or some
Yeah,
charity?
it was. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was something like that one.
No, I never liked that.
That was another post.
I like that one.
I thought that was cheese on the stick.
Yeah, cheese on it. Yeah, it was very, very cheap.
I like the one
And it
with
don't get
no
any more
music, though.
cheesy than that.
The musicless music video. Have you seen that one where they've taken the music video off and someone's overdubbed like shuffling off feet and people like going like dancing?
No,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't.
So if you've got access to YouTube, I suggest you Google "Dancing in the Street," the musicless music video. You'll have a good time.
Not now, though.
Do it now.
Wait till we finish, for God's sake.
But he used to live with Glenn Hughes, didn't he?
David Bowie did.
Mm.
I think they will have crossed paths. I can't remember the time frame on that one, but
Yeah, he used to live with Glenn Hughes
I don't know. Well, in England or America?
in England. In England, it was. He didn't.
He's
go,
let a lot of people living at his house, so Glenn Hughes, and he's lived with a lot of people.
Yeah,
He was trying to
didn't
come off drugs with Ozzy Osbourne at one time.
He went to watch Elvis Bowie, didn't he? Dressed up as, were it Iggy Pop, something like that.
No, he went
He went-
in his full Starman.
That was
Regalia.
Starman. Yeah, went to watch him and sat on front row.
Yeah,
Well, at that time, he was living with Glenn Hughes,
right.
and he just got up one morning and thought, "I'm going to watch Elvis." And he
Well,
just,
that'd be in America then.
and
'cause that's
he
when they were
went-
doing his Vegas.
he went
thing,
over.
wasn't it?
He went over to watch Elvis,
As you do.
as you do, dressed up as a whatever it is you want to call him.
Yeah, and he'd already started, hadn't he? And he had to walk all the way down
Yeah.
to the theatre
Yeah,
to get
all
to his seats
in
that were
full
reserved for him
costume.
up front. And he didn't enjoy it one bit. it was just cringeworthy, apparently.
But he was a big fan of his, wasn't he?
Well,
Of Elvis.
Everybody was, though.
Yeah.
Everybody
Oh
is.
yeah, I mean everybody was yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know the story about so do you know when back in the 70s when they used to do like videos of the song, but they weren't music videos, then there's like little VTs of like promotional bits for the song. So the song Rebel Rebel, where David Bowie's dressed up, it's got like an eye patch, it looks like a bit like a pirate. He's got like a teardrop guitar, he's got red
Oh,
trousers,
right. Yeah,
but
yeah.
he's wearing an eye patch.
Yeah, that guitar's. I've seen that guitar recently in a magazine. It's what is it now? I think it's in one of the hard rock cafes somewhere. That I've seen it somewhere. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
So the reason why he's wearing an eye patch is because he's got conjunctivitis. It's not for any stylistic element. Even though everyone thought he'd look cool, and people started to like emulate him wearing an eye patch, like it's a bit of a. He went for this like scarf around his neck, little like neckerchief and eye patch.
Right.
He just had conjunctivitis.
It's a bit like that one. You know when Led Zeppelin, the remaining members of Led Zeppelin, were getting. I think it was they weren't getting inducted into Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because I think they were already in there. But Hart did a rendition of Stairway to Heaven, and they kept turning cameras back onto John Paul and Jimmy Page and Robert Plant, and it looks like Robert Pants.
Robert Pants.
Robert Pants is crying.
All right.
Or his eyes are all watery.
All right.
And it's not. He's got conjunctivitis.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
All right. All right. It does look like he's getting really like emotional about it.
Oh no, he got conjunctivitis.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh.
And everybody said that. Oh, he's getting so filled up about it. No, he weren't. He enjoyed it, yeah. But it was good.
Oh,
It's probably the best. And we'll probably have to do this at some stage. The best cover. Or one of the best covers. But yeah, it is one of the best covers of that. And everybody's had a go at it. Not necessarily on vinyl, but they've had a go at it at some stage.
Who was it? Who was that Australian fella that did a good version?
Australia?
Yeah. Some Aris.
Rolf? Did he? Were you giggling at? I thought it was brilliant.
I've actually seen Rolf Harris at Glastonbury before. And
A lot of people
at the
did.
time, he turned up quite a crowd. But now, not so much.
Yeah, well, no, but it did. He played that Sunday thing that they have at Glastonbury, didn't he? And at that particular time, he got thousands of adoring fans in front of him.
Yep.
And now he's got thousands of less adoring fans behind him. Well, metaphorically speaking.
Wow. But yeah, so conjunctivitis. There you go.
Conjunctivitis. Yeah, you can edit that one.
No, it's fine. Leave it in. Yeah. Did you? So I think it was maybe like 2 years ago, 2 or 3, 4 years ago. Let's say 4 years ago. 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
They one of the cameramen who worked on the BBC
Yeah.
had discovered in his loft somewhere.
I've heard
He
this.
discovered in his loft some taping of Gene Genie from the Top of the Pops.
Yeah.
Which they never ended up using. I don't know why they didn't use it. He used it like they filmed something with a fisheye or something like that. But he discovered that it got it, and it had never been aired before, and it's now on the internet. It's Gene Genie at Top of the Pop in full Technicolor. It's fantastic. So yeah, David Bowie. So you never did say what your favorite album is.
I ain't got one, Louis.
If you got to pick though, if someone said, "Look, you got to pick one," or I'm going to push off this cliff, and it's not Cliff Richard.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm just visualising somebody pushing me off Cliff Richard. What am I doing to Cliff? I'm not.
No, you're on Cliff. You're on Cliff. What am I doing to Cliff?
I've probably got him by the throat.
No, you're on his shoulders.
I'm on his shoulders. Oh, right. Okay. You know you're on his shoulders. You know what you were doing. Could he sustain my weight? No, he couldn't.
Well, you've seen his calendars. He's clearly very fit. He was probably playing tennis topless.
Oh, favourite album?
Desert Island. You got to go. You got to pick one.
I want to go Black Star then.
That's not a bad shout because we all know all these other ones and it's oversaturated. We play them to death, but there's a lot to learn from this.
I don't want to disregard them because they've got overplayed or because I'm that used to them, and I'm not picking Black Star because I think it's fresh and I think it's relevant. I think they're all relevant for a reflection of that period in his career. But I just thought it was such a masterstroke at that point in his career. And it took that point in his career for him to make it. He couldn't have done it under any other circumstances.
I love the jazz saxophone as well because he was a big saxophone player.
He always played on all his records.
But there was some silky woodwinds there.
Silky woodwind, and it's not wood.
Well, there was some clarinets going on, or I should say, there was some clarinets and there was some brass.
Did he play any other wind instruments
then? Yes, he did.
Or did he just play sax?
He played the buttocks.
You're on form tonight, and I didn't see that one coming either. Oh, it's here, look. Our resident David Bowie fan has just fetched me another beer in. It's some wonderful beer that he's brewed himself. It's a strange shade of purple.
I thought he'd gone for a wee.
No, he's gone. Well, it might have actually.
That
might be what it is. He's given me a sample.
So Black Star, yeah, produced by. I can't remember his name, but it's produced by the lead singer for LCD Sound System. You'll probably know if you heard the songs.
Yeah.
But it's...
I don't know his name. I wouldn't know if you told me.
I can't even remember it. But he's very good and talented, though.
I thought it was extremely creative, though. Lyrically, everything about it. He was just... Yeah, we're good, very good. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that he's done that's good. I mean, how good is Suffragette City?
Boom, boom. But yeah, it's brilliant.
I mean, a lot
Rock and roll suicide.
Yeah.
Don't let the milk float blind your mind. What a great line. What a great line.
I have struggled with Quicksand's lyrics of all these years because it's. Do you know how we spoke the other week about you don't really need to know what they mean, or you don't really need to know the words, what's being said. As long as they have a flow and they have a rhythm to them, it's almost the song itself.
Well, he famously did those cutting up of his diary and like recomposing them to fit some sort of narrative.
I've never really got to the bottom of what I take it to be, Quicksand, but I just love the track.
He was heavily into Bob Dylan at the time, though, wasn't he? And Andy Warhol.
I don't know whether Bob Dylan were heavily into him because Bob Dylan didn't like him.
Well, Bob Dylan didn't like a lot of people.
He still don't like a lot of people.
You know?
Yeah.
He doesn't like being given Nobel Prizes.
No, he doesn't, does he?
No. Took him a long time to say thank you.
Yeah. Well,
doesn't even like to perform his songs correctly.
No, he likes to catch everybody out. What we're going to play it in this tonight, Bob? Play it in A. Then when he gets on stage, he plays it in F.
Funny man.
Yeah, he's a comedian. Yeah, he's about as funny as Van Morrison. He's another arsehole, isn't it? It's really awkward just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
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 I tell you what else is awkward these days.
Who's that?
Eric Clapton.
Why? What's he done now?
Oh, it's just awkward, isn't it?
No.
Yeah.
Especially when you talk about the COVID.
About the COVID,
Oh,
yeah.
well, he's got to be in his bonnet about that. Hasn't
Is it
he?
you can't watch his shows if you haven't had your jabs or something like that?
Yeah, I think Eric Clapton's had too much internet time. But anyway, so Wayne, you were saying, you were telling us why you don't like David Bowie.
Yeah, and I'll say I don't think he's a singer.
Is this a new thing, or have you always disliked
Oh,
it?
always, as well you know. Yeah, I just don't think he sings. I just think he talks. He just talks to music. So to say he's a singer to me is just no.
What about his lyrics? Or what about the songs that he's produced?
Well, I don't know. I don't listen to him because his voice just gets on my tits.
Yeah.
I just turn him off.
We're back
No.
to Quicksand. Apparently, a lot of the Quicksand has got references to the occult, but you've got to know.
Oh, is it one of those things like if you play it backwards, you'll hear
No,
marijuana?
no. You've got to know. No, we're on about. You've got to know things that are relevant to the occult to understand what he's saying. And I can't think of any particular examples, but there's certain references within it. And time between the light and dark, take my face to see reality, or something like that. It's all something to do with the occult. What would they call that chap that Jimmy Page was into?
Oh, we had the book and the castle.
He owned his house.
Yeah, he lived on his house. Yeah, he was a poet that was really into the.
He was a writer, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, I mean, every writer dabbles in the limericks, I think.
Alistair Crowley.
Right.
Alistair Crowley. There's
Sounds
lots
like a
of
news
references.
presenter.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Sorry?
And here's tonight's news with Alistair Crowley.
No, he used to entertain children on a Friday night. 5 to 5. It's Crackerjack time with Alistair Crowley.
Can you say that?
No.
No, it sounds like a news at 10 guy.
Yeah, it does
Alistair
that.
Crowley and Trevor McDonald.
He was heavily influenced in the occult, and he apparently taught. No, Jimmy Page was a devotee of his.
Oh, he had a moment, didn't he?
He had a moment, all right. It's lasted all his life. And apparently, David was not behind, but they all. You see, this is the thing. We call that the occult now. Back in the days when we're talking about, they called it being a hippie and have mysticism and all that.
There was lots of like discovering to do, weren't there? There's this famous story.
Is it how famous?
Well, it's not something that you could just walk up to.
So it's not famous then?
You couldn't walk up to a neighbour child and say, "Hey, you know this one, don't you?"
Well, we know it.
Probably not.
No.
So Jimmy Page lived in Alice Crowley's house.
Yeah.
And all sorts of stuff. David Bowie went up there. They tried to, obviously they were in the music business. He went up there, and apparently they did a little cocaine. Things got really dark, and apparently Jim Page just stared at him frantically, and they entered into some massive drug hole, and it scared the wits out of David Bowie. That David Bowie just got up and left, and for years David Bowie wouldn't speak to Jimmy Page.
Yeah, a lot of people have had this experience with Jimmy Page, haven't they?
When to listen to him talk, you just think
it's
it's
hexes on people and things like that.
I just think it's too much drugs and people's superstition because he's just a guitar player.
Yeah, well, I'm not. I'm
a very
don't-
good
don't get
guitar
me
player.
wrong, I'm not.
But cocaine's a hell of a drug, apparently.
So they say.
So Rick James says.
Well, it
Oh,
wasn't.
Henry there.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to
It
start
wasn't,
glue
it wasn't,
sniffing.
wasn't necessarily just cocaine that back in the day, was it? There was a lot of. They were
Catnip.
just starting to get to the heroin bit, weren't
Oh
they?
yeah, it's going down the burnt spoon era.
And the LSD were like
Although saying that,
send you off your face for 8 hours,
It wasn't
and then you come back.
I heard a
Some of them
story.
didn't come back.
I heard a story that Bowie bought or rented somewhere in America, and it got a big swimming pool. And in the bottom of this swimming pool, there was this black figure on bottom of the pool
Oh, I've heard this story.
that was there for I
2 or
don't
3
know,
days or
couple
something,
of
wasn't it?
couple of days, just less than a week. So he got somebody out to come, one of these priests, and walk around with his sage stick and all that malarkey that they do. And apparently, all the tremors in water started to appear, and the house started to shake, and this black figure thing just disappeared from the bottom of the pool.
It does make for a good
Make
story, doesn't it?
make of that what you will.
And he left the house and won't go back.
And like and he either sold it or he got rid of his rent contract or something like that.
Yeah.
But like I said, like Louis just said, in them days there was a lot of cocaine knocking about.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, all right, this dark figure at bottom, I mean, somebody might have accidentally, I'm not saying on purpose, but accidentally
Fell in.
squeeze one out, and we just left in corner, filtering away.
But what happens in LA?
And then the poor guy comes dressed as a vicar, shakes his magic stick about,
sage stick.
scoops out the offending log. The presence has gone, sir.
that do be the Labrador did on Monday night.
Yeah.
Have some of that.
Yeah, and then everything's well, but we think, well, it makes a better story for say it was some entity stuck in corner at pool.
But when it's sunny in LA. I don't know if you know that, but it is sunny in LA.
Never been.
So you have a pool, and when you look over the pool, you have a shadow in the pool.
Mhm.
Could it have been a shadow?
What you're saying is, they were that off the tits, or
Well,
their
it-
own shadow.
Well, it's a theory.
or
I'm liking it.
it
I'm
could have
liking
been Shakin' Stevens
It could have been.
all along for no particular reason.
And he went and hid behind the green door.
He looked at me like, "Oh yeah,
No
why, why Shakin' Stevens?"
I know, well, I thought you knew something we didn't, for no particular reason. That's where he deserves to be.
Yes.
This
Okay,
old house.
So we're going to get to that point in the evening where we talk about David Bowie, where I don't really piss Wayne off, but I do my son away. I have seen David Bowie.
Yes, you have, haven't you? Yeah. Through the crack of a window.
No, through the bars of a cell. No, I've seen it. Saw him at Leeds,
Live at Leeds,
in the old Town and Country Club, which is now the new O2.
the O2 Academy, is it?
Yeah, one of them. And it was,
Oh, that's a good gig. That's a good venue.
yeah.
The
it
stage
were.
is high, as in like you don't like it's a tall stage, so like it's good for people who want of vertical.
Challenged.
Yeah, like Wayne, you'd enjoy it. So
So what you're trying to say, it's no good for midgets.
no, it's great for
He's
midgets.
surprisingly
right.
tall. He's a lot taller than he looks.
Yeah,
I
just
am.
because you are actually. Yeah, I
It's-
take that
it's-
back.
it-
You wouldn't love it.
He's an optical illusion. It's just because he's wide.
You'd be very good as a warship in the in the navy.
Yeah. Yeah. Turning circle of the QE2.
It's not a big place,
No,
but it's a good room. And as I remember it,
you was on press day, weren't you? On like a media day. It wasn't an actual gig.
no, I tell you what it was. You're right. Yes, what it was like a warm-up gig. Let's check things out and play small venues. It was the beginning of the Earthling tour,
hmm
and again, I'm going to mention a good friend of mine who got us tickets for it. Neil Kitson, thank you, Neil. He got us tickets for it. It was on the 6th of August in 1997, on a Wednesday night, and it was lovely and warm.
Oh, great. What direction was the window?
So, can you remember
It
what
was
clothes you were both wearing?
Southeasterly wind. I was in a little tutu skirt with a little black number. You know, it was all right. No, it was very off the cuff type. It was simple stage setup
Well, it would
with
be.
strip lights,
Bowie.
if I remember right. Sorry.
It would be. It's
Well, no,
Bowie.
you say that, but like Earthling was very electronica, so it was.
You're talking. You might as well be talking in Chinese.
Well, so Earthling was. So do you know the Prodigy, Firestarter, all that sort of electronic sound that that.
Yeah, unfortunately,
that
I
sound,
heard
right?
it, yeah, that's what.
Well, Dave Bowie was the predecessor of that, so
Yeah.
he led the way for that. That
And
style
then he
of
asked me
music.
why I don't like him. Well, there you go.
Ah,
You're starting to answer your own questions.
well, sorry, continue.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
It was a Wednesday and it
So
was quite mild outside.
Yeah, and the stage was lit very sparsely, but it was lit well. And he came on playing his acoustic guitar, and what did they open up with? Quicksand.
Quicksand.
So I could have died then. I was a happy man.
Wow.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
yeah. That one of my favourite songs,
Yeah.
obviously, and what a night! Couldn't get any better, really. But it did. It did. The stairs on the right hand side. As you're looking at the stage, the stairs on the right hand side. And we were stood just about 3 or 4 stairs up. Neil was at the bottom of the stairs. I think he'd actually gone to do some photo work at the front. And we were stood on the stairs. And so Linda, my wife, Louis' mum, we was on the stairs and she was stood behind me. And he stands and looks directly towards us and waves. Now, I could tell that he wasn't waving at me, but he was waving at somebody behind me. And who stood behind me? Your mum, of course. Your mum's lived off that for the rest of her life.
Oh.
Being a bigger fan than I am.
Well, she has claimed, though, that Stevie Wonder did smile at her, so...
Well, I've got his autograph.
Well, a blind man can sign, it's fine.
I'm sure he can.
Have you got his autograph?
No.
Oh,
It goes over 3 pages.
that's Derek Wonder.
No, so we saw him at Leeds, and it was everything you'd expect. Apart from, Revere's Gabriel's was the guitarist. I'm not familiar with this chap. I weren't familiar with him at the time. I remember thinking that.
So did you boo?
I stood there,
Continuously booed.
I slow hand clapped at the front of the stage. And no, I'm not familiar with him. But Gail Ann Dorsey, she was on bass, obviously. And I'm glad I saw her because
She's part of the famous lineup, isn't she?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
So that's my claim to fame with Dave 97.
Very good. That's David Bowie then.
Yeah, well,
Do you think we've changed your mind ever so slightly?
let me
Is
think
there
about
a
this
song
minute.
that
No.
you will enjoy of his? There must be a song that you like of his.
Oh, have you got any on your
Come on,
Spotify
mate.
playlist?
I've probably got, I might have, I couldn't even tell you names of them, but I think I've got
So why have you got them on?
But
maybe,
you can sing them.
maybe 2 or 3. I think I've
2 or
got 2.
3.
And they're a bit like, I quite like the songs, but not how they are performed. They're a bit like I have 4 or 5 Oasis songs on. They're good songs, but I don't like the band.
Right.
I can't even remember what these Bowie ones are. They're decent songs. I quite like them. They're all right. But I don't like the way that they're sung or talked, or they are talked to, something like that.
Oh,
I just don't get him.
oh, that's fair enough.
But he did something with Stevie Ray Vaughan, didn't he?
Well, Stevie Ray Vaughan performed on Let's Dance album,
Dance.
although
Well,
the argument
yeah.
is it David Bowie's album or is it Nile Rodgers' album?
Well,
Well, he asked him to go and tour him as well, didn't he?
He
And
did.
Stevie Ray Vaughan said no.
he didn't do something with Stevie Ray Vaughan. He asked Stevie Ray Vaughan to be his guitarist.
Yeah,
I think there's a subtle difference there. But the unfortunate thing is,
but it being a
at
guitarist, yeah.
at this time, Stevie Ray Vaughan were going through his big drug phase, and so constantly on couch for money for drugs. Eventually, I think it all fizzled out because he won't have any more of it. Because he was trying to go clean probably by that stage.
Yeah, it was clean. And last thing he needed was Stevie Ray Vaughan off his face.
So, what would you say is his most popular song?
Oh, probably Let's Dance or something like that.
What were they doing with Vaughan?
No, just
Well, I think just in
He
general.
did China Girl
just-
with Vaughan, didn't he?
He did a lot. The Let's Dance album featured him, but I think
which were a cover?
Let's.
China Girl. But
No, it wasn't. It
It
wasn't.
were a cover.
It wasn't.
It was.
It wasn't.
It was.
It wasn't.
It was.
It wasn't.
It was.
It wasn't.
When did Bowie do it?
He did it in the 80s.
Did it in 80s. Iggy Pop did it in 1977.
No.
David Bowie wrote it.
No, he didn't.
Iggy Pop did it in 77. Bowie did it in 84.
No, because
It's a
Nile
cover.
Rodgers has this idea. He walked into the house that they're staying in the 80s, and he comes up with sort of like.
It's a cover. Iggy Pop did it in 1977.
I'll have to check that.
Check it. Check
Right,
it now.
I'm gonna check it now.
Do it.
Right. Okay. Right. Here we go.
Yeah, Iggy Pop did it in 1977. China Girl.
Right.
Bowie wrote it with Iggy Pop, and Iggy Pop did it, and then Bowie did it in early to mid 80s. Would you say 84-ish, around about that? But Iggy Pop did it in 77. Like you do, Doobie Brothers, you'll find that I'm right.
I see you were wrong with that one. Yeah, it's David Bowie, and it says here China Girl composers David Bowie and Iggy Pop.
And Iggy
China
Pop,
Girl is a song written by Iggy Pop and David Bowie
Bowie.
during the years of in the Berlin years.
and Iggy Pop did it in 1977. Bowie didn't do it while
No.
Early
No,
80s.
it was recorded in February 1977, released in 1977.
by Iggy Pop.
Bowie and Iggy Pop.
No, it's a cover.
No.
Yep, cover.
Oh.
Bowie did it in. When did Bowie do it? You've just said 84, 83.
Well, who recorded it?
Iggy Pop did it in 77.
But 1977. It might have not been on Let's Dance album. Then. Can't have been.
I don't even know what Let's Dance album was. I couldn't tell you.
You know what, Wayne? You know what? You come here, bashing Bowie.
What is it?
I have nothing to say on that because I can't give a definitive answer.
That and also your mic's off.
So can I just say before we go, marks out of 10 for Bowie.
10.
Well,
I'd give him 11 if I could.
You can if you want.
11 then.
11.
I think
If I couldn't paint a
No.
better artist.
try and be. We know you don't like him, but try and look at it as what is accomplished and what is achieved and what is developed within the music world.
Yeah.
If you mark it on that,
Yeah, I'd put him on a pedestal with Elton John. I'm going to give him a good 4.
a good. There's no winning, is there?
I just like is this the cultural relevance he has within like music videos, style, haircuts alone.
And he talks like that.
Oh,
Music.
twinkle twinkle little stars.
What's the thing? Is it somebody's red shoes or something?
What's on the red shoes and dance? Say they.
In a
It could have-
Yorkshire accent.
Now then.
He could have been a great person on that kids' programme, Jack and Ori.
What?
Or Zippy.
Sat there on his stool.
I think you're doing a
Talking.
great disservice. Look who is influenced. Everybody you know.
No.
Yeah, everybody you know.
No.
Everybody you've ever met.
No.
Even the bloke at butcher shop.
No.
In fact, he
No.
does his sausages in a Z.
No.
Like a thunderbolt. A thunderbolt sausage, Wayne? Yes, please.
No. Pants. Not
Yeah.
having it.
Thunderpants.
Thunderpants.
Well, we tried.
But you've got some on your Spotify list.
Yeah, because the songs. I don't. There's 2 or 3 songs that are all right. Like Oasis. I don't like Oasis, but I've got
Yeah.
3 or 4
I get your point.
Oasis songs because I like
But you
the
say
songs,
you
but
say
I don't like the band.
but you say he can't sing, but he can sing.
Well, he doesn't
It's an
sing.
opinion,
Then.
though,
He
isn't it?
chooses not to sing on the songs that he fetches
On
out.
the latest EP
albums.
that is just released, Toy, there's a piano version of a 1968 song that he did.
Piano?
Now I can't wait to hear that
You know
one.
you don't like piano.
Fucking Bowie and a piano. Oh my God! Let me put it on now.
Okay. But
No.
it does a really good version, and he sings in a more conventional, what you might consider a more conventional
What,
style.
as in sings, not
Yeah,
talks.
well, yeah. I think it's a good version.
It's very Lou Reed, very
No,
Louis Armstrong.
Louis Armstrong?
Yeah.
You
Louis
can't just keep
Armstrong and
saying
Lou Reed,
else.
when are they
Oh,
made?
they both talk to music.
Rubbish. Right, that's it.
these skies are blue.
There you go. Talks.
Just
Just a perfect day.
denied.
There we go. I feel it's always a good time to end the podcast when people start mouth impersonating trumpets. I think when that happens, that's when you know that the beers start to take hold. So that was, let's say, episode 1 of David Bowie. I'm sure we'll probably do another one because after we finish this one, we're like, oh, we didn't talk about this, we didn't talk about that. So yeah, there'll probably be more. And David Bowie will probably be peppered throughout most of the podcast because he is a big deal, and there's so much gossip to talk about with him. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and if you are enjoying it, then please give us a follow over on the Spotify or wherever it is, or if you're able to comment or leave a question or whatever, do, and we'll try our best to come back with a reply. So yeah, give us a follow. We have a TikTok account, so very current. We have a TikTok account at the Soundcheck Podcast, I believe it's called. So give us a follow over there, and you'll find some humorous outtakes with also some humorous visual effects on our faces. Wayne has never looked so good. Goodbye.